What's in the box? What's in the box? What's in the box? What's in the box? Right?
All right, guys, we are back with mystery box number 6. And this one's not really much of a mystery. You can see right through the top. This is a bunch of Spider-Man figures, which should be really awesome. Now, unlike some of our previous mystery boxes, which we really haven't looked at in years, I have dumped some newer figures into this box, and I think we'll see those up here on top. But I think this box is going to be more like an archaeological dig, where the further down we get, the further down in the layers we get, the more interesting and the older the figures are going to be. So I can't wait to see what this Spidey box has in store for us. If you like our mystery boxes, if you like the content of our channel, go ahead and click like and subscribe. We want to have you join us along for the journey on carbon scoring. We are striving to get to 1,000 subscribers. We're getting closer every day, and we'd love you to be part of it. So let's take a crack at this thing. All right, so let's start with some of these newer figures that I can see right here on top. So this here is that crazy Green Goblin Carnage figure from whichever anniversary issue of Amazing Spider-Man that was. I can't remember if we're up to 700 or 800, but again, this facial sculpt is meant to be the Green Goblin, Norman Osborn, as Carnage, and, you know, pretty trippy, good stuff. I mean, they certainly worked hard to get that where it needed to be. It's based off of this Carnage figure, which made a ton of top 10 lists over the past year. And look, I'll grant you, that's a good figure. I mean, it's got a lot going for it. Has a really, really nice Cletus Cassidy head sculpt there. I mean, just the crazy maniacal look. You've got the different symbiote stuff. You've got all the things swirling off of him. I'm just not that big a Carnage fan, so that's why he ends up in the box. And from there, here we get into symbiotes left and right. So this is the deluxe Venom figure. Again, really nice. Got that crazy tongue. I like my Venom a little closer to the very earliest days, that issue 298 through 300. That kind of Venom, that Todd McFarlane Venom. Eric Larson, when he picked up the title, added the crazy tongue. And man, that's great. You know, you have to keep going artistically and stylistically, but as artists went on, he just got bigger and bigger and bigger, and now he's just this, he's almost like the Hulk. And for me, that's not the Venom that I'm looking for. I like this Venom. So this is much more what you would expect from those earliest Venom days. Look at how much different this body shape is compared to this one. You know, these are like human proportions. This is Eddie Brock with the symbiote coming up around him, and great effect there. The head, I think, is probably a little more Larson than it is McFarlane, but really sweet effect with that symbiote head spinning up around him. Nice. Now, you can't have a Spidey without Venom, and this is from my favorite cartoon, The Spectacular Spider-Man. So this is the version of Venom in it, obviously more of the monstrous hulking sort of version. And of course, Spidey had a couple of versions where he was in the black suit. This is gross. This is from my old Secret Lounge. If you've watched my other videos on the Secret Lounge, you know it's a converted wine cellar where I keep my very best of my collection, but it's underground. And before I had a dehumidifier down there, some of the figures, particularly ones on the bottom shelves, would get this mold on them. So that's just disgusting. Here is a better version, a little bit of a different one with the web lines on it, but again from Spectacular Spider-Man. Sticking with that absolutely incredible cartoon, here is the Doc Ock from that show. These have really cool, like pincher hands on it. It's a classic looking Ock. You know, he's heavy set, he's green, he's got the mechanics of the arms on him. That's a good Doc Ock figure. And let's see, one more. Okay, so here is another black suit Spidey again, kind of got the mold. Let's get away from those. Here's a newer figure. This is, I think, other than the new retro card back Black Cat, this is like the modern version of the Black Cat. And I know there were some people who didn't really like this figure. I think it's awesome. I think that design the cat motif of the eyes with kind of the lining of the leather jacket kind of creating those cat-like eyes. I think that looks really sweet. So I thought they did a great job with this black cat figure. Uh-oh. Looks like Miles lost his head and a hand. That's not good. Here is terrific Spider-Man 29. I've talked about my love for this figure and this character numerous times. One of the things that Hasbro really did right with this is they killed that metallic paint sculpt, or that metallic paint job. You know, Hasbro has not always used the metallic paint. They don't use it enough, I think, on their Iron Man figures, but they really, really knocked it out of the park with this one. Oh, here we go. This is kind of the classic Peter Parker Spider-Man from the Spectacular Spider-Man cartoon. Very, very reminiscent of Ditko styling with those eyes, that mask. Love it. If you're not watching this cartoon, you definitely should. All right, here's where we start getting into the archaeology of things. So this is a bendy Spider-Man, and I mean, it's old. What does it say on here? Oh, will it come into focus? I think that says 1995. Because I can remember, I think I got this in high school, or in college at least, but really sweet, bendy Spider-Man. Let's see what other old stuff we can find in here. Pez dispenser, definitely with more of a 90s style to it. Here is a Happy Meal toy. This is from the release of the Spider-Man animated series, the one from the middle 90s. I'm pretty sure this came out in 95 as well, but it has a little, I think when you roll it, the spider arms go, because of course Spider-Man needs a spider-themed thing. Oh, look! It's like a little mini Funko Pop. Nice. Ugh, okay, so, you know, you're cranking out Spider-Man figure after Spider-Man figure. They're not all going to be winners. So you've got ball jointed shoulders up here. You've got kind of no neck articulation, just the one point here. You know, his chest is permanently bent, kind of in that position, and then T-jointed hips. Ugh, not great. That is not great. This is, though, here we go. This is the Spider-Sense Spider-Man from Toy Biz's animated series line. This is one of the very first figures that came out in the animated series line. So instead of the squiggly things that came off of Spidey's head when his spider sense went off, his entire costume would go into this like negative colored effect. And let's see, I think he's probably got some kind of superpower play feature here. Really funky hips. Took us a while to figure out how to do this. This was not the answer, but interesting nonetheless. Here's one of our various spider women. Nice figure on the new body. Okay. This is another Happy Meal toy. Pretty sure this was from Burger King. I think Burger King had the rights to the Spectacular Spider-Man Happy Meal toys. So I think this guy is gonna, there we go, spin on that web. Okay. Oh, this is a really good figure. I'm surprised that this is in here. I have always referred to this as the Alex Ross Spider-Man. I actually have the full-size head bust that Alex Ross did of Spidey, and it looks exactly like this. It has kind of those silver eyelets, very classic, like 70s Romita style, but with just a little touch of Alex Ross. There was a period where Toy Biz was cranking out Spider-Man after Spider-Man, but they tended to have like a look that was specific to an artist, and I really felt like what they were trying to go for here was the Alex Ross look. Again, when you look at Alex Ross's art, that's the type of spider logo that you're going to see on the back. So we're going to call that the Alex Ross Spidey. Whereas this is very, very much the John Romita Jr. Spidey. I didn't like how dark this paint was, the way that they put this wash over the top of it. And so I remember back many, many years ago, 20 years ago, trying to clean it off. Didn't really work very well. You can see I even tried to clean up here a little bit. But this sculpt looks exactly like when John Romita Jr. was drawing Peter Parker, the Spectacular Spider-Man, in the late 90s, early 2000s. Okay, here's one of the Marvel Universe 3 3/4 inch figures, obviously Scarlet Spider. This is just, oh, I bet you this is from a, you know, a movie tie-in line. I imagine, I'm trying to push the button on his back, I imagine his eyes lit up at some point, but they no longer do. Okay, so I really, really liked this figure. You can tell. Now, actually, this one looks maybe a little bit different than the one that we had pulled out before. Let me see if I can find that one again. Because I think that, yeah, see how the first one we looked at, the eyes have almost like a yellowish hue to them, whereas this one, they're more white. I think it's pretty much the exact same sculpt, but this was maybe a second version. No, you know what? Maybe I drew on this. Anyway, Spectacular Spider-Man. Love it. Here's Miles dressing up. Another Happy Meal toy. Again, this came from that Burger King line. I'm assuming he shoots out some kind of web line from there. Okay, so this is commonly referred to as the McFarlane Spidey. This is actually an alternate head, so this is not the head sculpt that came out on this body when it first was released. This was as Toy Biz was kind of venturing out of their 5-inch animated line and making more comic accurate type of figures. And I mean, just look at the detail of the sculpting. I mean, it has that sinewy, athletic, thin Spider-Man body. The very first one had I felt like a better head sculpt. This is a second head sculpt with kind of more bulbous eyes. But this was the best Spider-Man available for many years. 3 3/4 inch. They made some great figures in the 3 3/4 inch line, and they never made a good Spider-Man. They all look just stupid like this. It's like they could never figure out how to get that head sculpt right in this scale. Terrible. Okay, here's another Toy Biz Spidey. So, you know, they're getting closer, right? So they're still kind of stuck on basically the, 7.79 points of articulation. You got shoulders, elbows, knees. This one does have ankles. This was before they really got into painting the lines. Now, that's a good 90s head sculpt, and I think I really was excited for this figure when it came out, but it really could use the web lines painted in. This is an animated figure from the Disney cartoon. So I get so frustrated when they have great, ball jointed upper body and then the T hips. Like, how are you going to play with this? How is he going to do Spider-Man things? No articulation at the ankle, got the funky knees, crazy looking T hips. I don't know. I don't think that's actually a Hero Clicks. Who knows what that came from. There's another one. Grab that one. Oh, this is die-cast metal. You can't tell it, but it's got really good weight to it. So Toy Biz had a short-lived line of die-cast metal figures, and it's very much based off the 90s animated series. You can tell from the look of it. But look, there's the screw holding the metal figure together. That's fun. Iron Spider, again from not a Marvel Legends line, but more from just a toy line. Oh, the granddaddy. Look at this. I did kind of buy every single one of these that I could find when they first came out. So this is the 2000 Spider-Man Classic line. This is the grandfather of Marvel Legends. So I can remember when Toy Fair magazine was the only way that you could get news on what action figures were coming out, and they talked about this one, and I was like, oh my gosh, they're finally doing the perfect Spider-Man. And in a lot of ways, this one hasn't been topped. I mean, I love the size of this figure. He has really good articulations. He's got ball joints where he needs them. Could use a bicep swivel. Could use a wrist swivel. Could use a forearm swivel. Could use a little bit more at the wrist. They really tried to give him opening hands that then came into web shooting hands. But nothing that we enjoy today. This channel would not exist if it weren't for this figure right here. So good. And so bad. I mean, really? Really? Who thinks that looks like... that poor Ben Reilly. I mean, he takes such a hard time anyway, and then they at the toy factory, they paint the mask like that. Oh, that's so bad. Another 3 3/4 inch figure. Again, I think it's got a light up feature that doesn't work anymore. This is not the same as that previous animated figure that we saw, but just kind of a classic Spidey. Probably need to go put that downstairs. That is a really, really sweet Goblin glider. Oh, here we go. So this figure, as awesome as it is another Happy Meal toy. So that McDonald's line from the mid-90s had a really great Mary Jane, a really great Spider-Man, a really great Peter Parker that flipped into Spider-Man, and they had this incredible Dr. Octopus. I mean, this was it's a little bit smaller, but I mean, this is almost as good as what you would get, at Walmart at the time. I mean, look at that. He's got, he doesn't have lower articulation, but he's got articulation up here. He's got his arms. That's a good figure to come in a Happy Meal, because most of the time you get this. Like, this is typically what you're going to get in a Happy Meal. Or this. So I think this guy, yeah, he's got wheels, because does whatever a spider can if a spider rolls on its belly. Okay, so this is also not a Marvel Legends. I thought it was when I first picked it up, but this is actually a pretty great toy. So this is just a kind of one of the kid line Miles Morales's, but look at how good that paint application is. Again, only 5 points of articulation, kind of a predecessor to the new Marvel Legends 3.75 figures that we've been getting over the past year. If they come out with a Miles that looks like this, I'll be very happy. Uh-oh. Sorry about that. Okay, so here, we saw the Big Venom earlier. This is the original. I can't remember if this is a Build-A-Figure or not, but this is kind of that monster Venom figure. Gosh, it looks really good in the light. It does have that metallic paint scheme that's really kind of shining off of it. If you're into this kind of Venom, that's about as good as you're going to get with that. Okay, so from that same line that we saw the original, or we saw the Green Goblin as Carnage, this is Spider-Man from that same time period in the comics. Dan Slott was finishing up his run and was looking to go out with a bang. And this is a black suit Spider-Man from that same time frame. All right, well, we did Ben Reilly a little bit better here. Not a great figure, but certainly not the abomination that we saw with that last one. Why do I buy these things? Yeah. Again, Happy Meal, Hobgoblin. Sweet, love it. Yeah, this one's broken, but this actually was, again, from that same Happy Meal line. It had like a web thing that comes up. This is, I kind of consider this to be canon, because Spidey did have the Dune Buggy for a couple of issues in the comics in the 70s. Okay. So they made a Stan Lee figure that was a San Diego Comic-Con exclusive, and you could turn Stan Lee into Spider-Man using some of these extra parts, and so that's what that stuff is left over from. Better. So, pretty good black suit. Why can we never get the red and blue suit right? Because they always look like this. Like, what? I mean, come on. Why does that head look so bad? The rest of the figure's okay. A little gangly, kind of, those hips sort of detract a little bit, but get it right. I mean, they're good. They can be good. That's maybe a little bit better. Kind of heavy on the paint wash, but a little better, I guess. It's supposed to be fun, guys. That's actually a good one. I really like that little bobblehead. These were from Spider-Verse. Oh, now we're talking. So that is a pretty fantastic Spider-Man mini-mate. I really like the paint on that head. That's a nice one. I like that. Okay, here is from the Disney Infinity game. I guess I stole this from my children and said, you don't ever play this anymore. I'm going to put this in the Spider-Man collection. So that's the Spidey from Disney Infinity. A little bit of an older style, more kind of 70s, 80s Pez Spidey. What is this? Oh, hey, cool. It's another one of those blind box. This is Penny Parker from Spider-Verse. Very cool. Oh, yep. Because The only way Venom could possibly catch Peter in his Spider-Mobile is if he had his own Spider-Mobile, but, you know, look out, because the Hobgoblin Mobile is going to be coming right behind you. Oh, that's so nice. So, okay, you know, I've never looked at it really up close. So this was the black suit Spider-Man that came from the Kraven the Hunter 2-pack, from where Kraven defeated Spider-Man, buried him alive, took on his identity in the utterly fantastic, I think it was like 6 or 8 issues that ran across all the different Spider-Man titles. It was written by J.M. DeMatteis and drawn by Mike Zeck, and was just utterly terrific. And so Spidey really took it on the chin. I mean, he was, again, buried alive. And so this is the roughed up by Kraven Spidey head, and it's great, except he still got like the little Spidey smirk on him. But incredible storyline. Definitely go back and read that. The Kraven that came with this is perfect, and that's the one that I have down in my secret lounge, but this is the second part of that 2-pack. Oh, hey, it's Ultimate Spider-Man. I love this guy. That book is so good. That was Brian Michael Bendis at his absolute peak, was writing Ultimate Spider-Man. All right, this is from Metacom. That's actually a movie figure. You can tell because it's got sort of the silver webbing on it. Again, Metacom, but Scarlet Spider. We got 1, 2, 3 Spidey 2099s. Nobody can say I have any control whatsoever. Ugh, that looks not good. It looks better. I'm looking at it on the screen. It looks better on the screen than it does in person. That's not very good at all. Spider-Man Noir. We need this one. So we've got the Mini-Mate, but we definitely need we need a new 6-inch version of Spider Armor Spider-Man. I've seen that. Actually, I've seen that one. Oh, these are cool. So these are those sort of Playmates sort of versions. These are like very kid versions, but I love the Ben Reilly. And then, of course, here is regular Spidey right there. Look out. Yeah, what was this? I don't know. Oh my gosh. So this is like little rubbery. It's almost like a little eraser. Super cute. And Ben, you know, clearly I love me some Ben Reilly. I will buy any version of him that exists. Here's another bobblehead in the Secret Wars package. There's a bunch of junk in here. Here's a Kingpin head, but I have a really, really nice Secret Wars Spider-Man. Why don't we end on this one? This one is so good. What a great toy. So Mattel got the license for Marvel figures, and they made Secret Wars figures in like 1984. And of course, Spidey was front and center of the line. Everybody had virtually the same body sculpt, but it really worked well for Spidey. I mean, it's a super athletic, thin. He's not overly muscular. Granted, the paint apps could use a little bit of help. Obviously, they haven't worn well over time, and you know why they don't have them going from front to back, I don't really know, but I don't care. You're not going to top the nostalgia for me for this figure. Just, oh, I love it. I love it. I said I was done, but let's see what this is. Oh, that's a cheesy Spider-Man Homecoming figure. Yep, good stuff. Got a little Spidey Angel in there. This one's, I don't know what that is. Anyway, I tell you, there's nothing better than a Spidey box. So I hope you guys enjoyed taking a peek through this Spidey mystery box. A lot of different types of figures in there, not just Marvel Legends. Come back. We'll have more mystery boxes very soon. And if you haven't already done it, subscribe to Carbon Scoring. Thanks, guys.